Hello everyone, I am Phoenix Tremaine, and this is my review of the Have and Have-Nots. First, I would like to thank you for blowing up my Facebook paid friends list. I went from 1,600 friends, which I've had for a long time, to 5,000. Now people, if you want to friend me on Facebook, you have to follow me. So thank you for that. I really appreciate all the new friends I have on Facebook. Hopefully you enjoy the post. I also have Instagram, Twitter. I have my webpage, webseriesandmovies.com. So I got a lot going on. Hopefully you will take me on, enjoy the ride that I'm given with my new show, Phoenix Tremaine's Third Sea, is a soap opera that it's actually better than Have Nots, which is why you've come to see this review. And if you haven't yet, please share, like, subscribe. I definitely appreciate everyone who subscribes to me, and I want to thank you in advance. But this is going to be a quick review. I did a previous review the night of the Have and Have-Nots, where I went from commercial to commercial like I've been doing the last few times. But I decided to do a shorter review because this episode was not worth a 30-minute review. So I'm going to give it to you straight, like I used to. This one's going to be a short one, and I'm very long-winded. It started off with Wyatt's reaction to being raped. Basically, I was huge disappointment. I was molested as a kid. I was raped as a child from the ages of 6 to 9. So a storyline like this always perks my attention because I want to make sure it is done well, and it's not. And Tyler Perry said he was also molested, so I would have hoped that he would have written something more compelling as a director. He would have had Aaron do a better acting job than he is. He didn't give him much time in this episode, but I was very disappointed at Wyatt slappy pity pat he was trying to do when the guy said like he wanted some more or whatever. Bullshit. And then basically, the new guards, I guess they came for the morning shift and realized that the wrong guy was in the cell, and they're like, oh, Jim's going to be mad. And sent Wyatt to the infirmary. And the other thing is, if Wyatt was raped like we typically see when a guy is in jail or Oz or something, a show like Oz, and the guy goes to the infirmary, he usually has a bruise or something. Wyatt looked like Wyatt. Wyatt looked like he gave it up. He did not put up a fight. And that was just that. I mean, he didn't walk funny or nothing. And I'll leave that at that. But that was it for Wyatt. And then there was this stupid scene with Hannah, and Hannah was getting on my nerves all episode. In front of the social worker, Benny's like, oh, I have a towing company, and Hannah's like, no, you don't. So she's arguing in front of the social worker with Benny about his job. A real ass bitch, especially one from the hood, would have been like, pulled his ass to the side afterwards. What do you mean you have a towing company? You don't argue in front of the social worker when you're trying to get a child. And she told the social worker she wanted a kid because Candace is a con artist. So, she shouldn't have done that either. She should have done something like that after the kid was in custody and away from Quincy. Because, Quincy, she saw him walk into the infirmary, emergency room, so she knows he's still out there. Do you really think Hannah can protect Quincy Jr. from Quincy? Of course not. She gets slapped again, and he would take the kid, and that would be that. So, and Benny has a job. He can't be there 24/7, and she has a job. She can't be there 24/7. So where's the kid going to be when she's being a maid for the criers? The same people who she suspects are the ones responsible for hitting her son. So Hannah was getting on my nerves this episode. Celine finally came to a realization that she's lost Jim. In the next episode, we see that there's going to be this big interview where there's an interruption where they say we learned something. I think Celine's finally going to reveal she's got 1 or 2 kids from Jim, and that'll be the big. That's what this episode was setting up when she finally went to see Jim. Went saw David trying to find Jim and realized, she's really fired. He's not taking her back. He doesn't love her. So I'm sure she's going to do something vengeful in the next episode. Then we had this boring meeting with the DA that they've been talking about for about 3 weeks now. And we already saw the episode where the DA's boss said, drop this case. I don't want you anywhere near it. I don't want you anywhere around it. So I have no idea what this scene was about. I mean, she was told point blank not to continue the case. In the scene, David said, your boss told you not to continue the case. You have no case. You have no proof. So the whole scene was just a huge waste of time. The only thing that was revealed that made any sense in the scene was when Veronica said that she knew that Wyatt was in jail, and then when David cornered her, he realized that she did something, so he sends Jim to go save Wyatt, but he doesn't know it's already too late. And that was the last we saw of Jim. And then Benny and Veronica have this argument in a car where he's pretty much is like, woman, shut up, I'm going to do what the hell I'm going to do, and if you don't like it, then, we can end this right now. And then Veronica was like, oh, okay. She put on this little girl voice, like she became demure because he was being a man, and when he hung up, she was like, who the hell do you think you are? So we know Veronica's still Veronica playing games. But it was funny to see Benny put her in her place and for her to fall back, basically because he has the car. And then there's Candace finally arrives with Oscar to see her son, and that's when she learns that her mother has made allegations, so she can't take him home either until they investigate the allegations. And this is when Benny discovers that, she's not even a lawyer yet, even though she's supposed to be having this job. And so, Benny's got his first clue that she lied. And then what made me mad again is that Hannah once again gets into a huge argument with Candace in front of the social worker. This made absolutely no sense to me. It would have made more sense if she pulled her out into the hall and said, let me talk to you for a minute. And then they argued. You do not argue in front of social workers. That is some fantasy bullshit. If you argued in front of a social worker the way they were arguing, neither one of them would get the child. He'd be in foster care, point blank, period. So I really hated that because that was so unrealistic. Not that the have and have-nots is realistic, but it just took me out of the story. Veronica and Benny, they have sex again, and it's just as boring, and I really didn't want to see that. I wouldn't mind Veronica and Benny having a sex scene if it was really hot and passionate, but I just don't see the two of them together. You can take that however you want to take it, but I know what the character Veronica is supposed to be. This is a character who could be played by Iman, maybe even Naomi Campbell. I know she can't act, but there's not many people who can act on the show. Halle Berry, a lot. We now realize that Veronica is supposed to be a vixen, but she doesn't look like a vixen looks. And that comes to one of the problems on the have and have-nots, where Tyler Perry casting, he casts all of these hot guys with great bodies and six-packs and abs and chiseled chests and muscles, even the older guys. But then when he casts women, it's like, who did it and why? It's okay to have maybe one Catherine or one Hannah, but we know darn well that in any other show, we would be getting Kerry Washington or, Angela Bassett type actress. Cast some of the girls, some girlfriends that don't have a job. Golden Brooks, throw her on this show. People like that is who we could take seriously as a vixen or as a major female diva. Now, Melissa is okay. She's pretty, but her acting sort of takes away from that too. But, and Sumter's pretty, but they're not Hollywood pretty. And I love Tika Sumpter since One Life to Live. So I'm not saying anything about complexion or anything like that. I wouldn't care if they were light skin, dark skin, whatever. But They're not the kind of pretty like Gabrielle Union, would rock that part. I like Tika Sumpter as Candace. I'm just saying, I would have loved a Gabrielle Union type actress for Melissa. You know, the way Tyler casts women on the show is just not, comparable to the men on the show. So you end up getting love scenes between, Veronica and Benny that should be hot and, we should be cheering. Instead, I read online comments where people are saying they threw up a little in their mouth. That is not what was intended for the show. And I didn't like Veronica's legs. I'm sorry, I don't know the actress or whatever, but I'm a leg man, and seeing her knee Benny in the dick, playing with his erection, I was just staring at her legs like, I'm a personal trainer. Call me. Let's do some squats or something. Let's get them legs right. And then it kind of ended with Maggie trying to finally let David know the truth, but instead of just coming out with it and telling him what Veronica's doing or showing him the pictures, she's still going around in circles and round the bend, and so he thinking she bringing him there because her private detective found out about the car, but the truth is, she's having an affair. So in the next episode, it looks like David's finally mad at Veronica, but he still sounds like a pussy when he says it. So that's that. And I blame the writing. I don't blame the actor. Candace is asked to leave the hospital, so who knows what lie came out because of that. And Wyatt is crying because I guess he found out what happened to Jim. And then they show the interview where Jim is busted. But they don't actually show it, so we don't know how busted he'll be. So that's it for the have and have nots. This is my condensed review. It's not the half-hour review. And I just had my first film festival where my show, Phoenix Remains Thirsty, got a great round of applause when all of us producers were on the stage, producers, writers, directors, creators, were on the stage. All the questions were coming to me, and because I love that people laughed, people were shocked, and that the show was really relatable to people. They really felt it, and that just gave me the drive to continue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a clip from Thirsty. Episode 1 is online, and I am about to release episode 2.
What he's worth.
I don't want him for his money.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about sex.
I'm not like that.
You're a woman. You're all like that.
I'm different. You know me. Come on.
So you mean to tell me that you never called a man over the middle of the night just so you can get you something?
I'm not having this conversation with you.
Women get just as horny as men do. See, y'all just a lot more sneaky about it.
If I want to have sex, I'll have sex. I don't have to be sneaky about anything.
Okay, well, Madison, you and I will be a disaster.
You keep saying that, but you can't deny that there's an attraction between us.
Yes, there is an attraction. But hell, I've been a dog for so long. I mean, what I look like going back to being good?
All dogs can be trained.
No, well, you can't train me.
Is that a challenge?